Welcome to the Condor DM show out of order. Man, I couldn't press that button fast enough, I tell you. So tempted to press it early, like way early. You know me, I'm crazy. I was like ready to press this like 20 minutes ago. I had to be very patient. Again, welcome to the Condor DM show out of order. I'm covering DC Heroes tonight, the 1985 tabletop role-playing game. Man, I didn't do much today, so I'm full. I'm full of energy to give to this. I plan on using it all here. I have too much, to be honest. I was like, 5 minutes ago, I'm just like sitting there going, maybe I could just start like 15 minutes early. But I'm like, no, stick to routine, 10 minutes. Give people time to roll in. You know the deal? We start at 8 o'clock my time, which is in about 9 minutes now. We'll start the script. This is just giving time for people to get comfortable. Get in, get here. I am fucking excited. So, tomorrow night is Earth Dawn. Tonight is DC Heroes. Tomorrow night is Earth Dawn. Drink. Aha. Like that one. And then Tuesday is Ruin Quest. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I'm full of energy tonight. It's going to be fucking great. It's going to be fucking awesome. DC Heroes 1985 tabletop role-playing game. If you don't know it, you're going to know it. You're going to know how to run it. I'm going to teach you the basics here, right? The stuff you need to know. Character creation, setting. I mean, it's DC Universe, baby. What do you expect, right? It's a game where they're very just, they don't care. They don't care. They put it all in there. And of course, great timing for noise with neighbors. But I don't care. Tonight I'm full of energy. We're in real life. Some noise I can't control. The timing of noise is interesting. So, how is everyone tonight? People can say hi, whoever can say hi. Unless I get some of those people out there. Oh, there's Black Rose having a drink, relaxing. I know the deal. I know you want to hear about this game. You're going to hear about it. Again, I'm covering DC Heroes tonight, 1985 tabletop role-playing game. Tomorrow night is Earth Dawn. And then Tuesday is not the video game, the tabletop role-playing game, Ruin Quest. Man, it's going to be a good next few days. I promise you. It's going to be good tonight. It's going to be really good tonight. Really, really good tonight. Because I like DC Heroes. I like how it just doesn't hold back for what it is, right? It's a power game. You are superheroes. But it balances things surprisingly well. Like, the Batman, Superman, gauge, right? When, does that mean you found something? Are we talking about blue or are you talking about oddly shaped something else? If you found blue, great. The Bat Blue. One of Canada's best bears is Labatt Blue. It's just something I grew up on. Very popular here. I like it. I love it, to be honest. When I do bother to drink, right? Which isn't often, but when I do, like my birthday, I'm going to definitely have a drink. Oddly shaped. All right. I'll check that afterwards. I promise. I close everything down just to get the best connection I can here because Restream. You know how that works. So I shut everything down when I come into this. It's all about focused on this. I give all my time to this. I hate needing to put focus elsewhere. I want to cover the game, right? It's going to be great. Oh, we're like 5 minutes away. But it's just, I got to be patient. Let people roll in before I hit script. That's it. That's how it's going to work tonight. I'm sure I'll have some people that, it's even if you don't like me, you probably want to hear about the game. Woo. And then you'll probably tell me afterwards that I made mistakes. It's like the Cyberpunk. I had an experienced game master and a guy who's already given some game master time to it, two people, including myself. I cover the whole thing, and the experienced guy It's like, yeah, that's a great stream. And like I hear people afterwards, you got that wrong. Well, the experienced game master and me and the other guy who's had some experience with it, all were happy with the fucking stream. So how wrong was I? I actually ran it, so. And if I talk that way and somebody leaves, I know someone is doing that hate watching thing, right? It's a giveaway. I don't mind poking them. Give a little poke. It's like, come on, guys. Like either you're here to listen for the game, but if you're here to listen, I don't know to be mad at me. I don't get the whole deal. I don't go watch people I don't like. I just have no time for them. That's it. Should be here for the game. Always for the games. We're tabletop role-playing game nerds. I invite anybody here, people that like me or don't like me. Everybody's welcome to listen in. And I hope you do. And anybody, I hope some other people roll in. But hey, if they roll in afterwards, doesn't matter. This is going to be a good night. Check it out on the replay. Check it out live. Whatever works. I am monstered up. Energy didn't do much today, and then just downed a few monsters. And I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like banging off the walls here, right? In my mind, like, I am ready to go. Like, pew, 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 pew. Man, this will be a good night for Game Master. My players love it when I have this type of energy. When I come to the table with this type of energy, they're just like, okay, it's going to get crazy, but it's going to be fucking fun. Because, if Steven's going to go fucking, he's on tonight. I'm always on. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So the casual night where I sit down, people have I do that because some people, they don't like a lot of the moving around. So it's like, be patient with this. And to appease them, I give them the casual night where I sit down, even though I'm like banging off the walls. I sit down for them and give them what they want. But I always rather be up and going. I'm just someone who's up and going all the time. That's my life, up and going. In casual time. We're in casual time. I'm having a pup during casual time. It's how it is. I'm just excited about this game, man. You know, I never know. Like, I get pumped up on this stuff, but I never know who's going to else be interested in certain games. We're going back to topics, I mean, I think could sound boring to some people, but I got to remember, I'm talking to my fellow nerds, and they love this stuff. So, yeah, to the outside world, well, you're just covering some old tabletop role-playing game? Yeah, it's fucking great. And my audience is like, yeah, it's fucking great. Let's learn about this thing, because in all honesty, the old games are fucking beautiful. They're beautiful. Now, some people follow me, I realize, don't agree with me on certain things, but I preach so much about how the hobby is about bringing people together, breaking walls down. So in X, you got to go through some weird things. Like if I have someone that follows me that disagrees with me, say, I won't mention politics, but just say it's on politics, means I got to start seeing shit I don't want to see. But I could block them, I could push them away, but I'm like, nope, that's bullshit. Practice what you preach. Anybody's welcome to your table, Stephen. Even the people that don't agree with you. And so you gotta live that. You gotta be that. So it's like those guys, okay, we don't agree, I don't care. I'm just not going to care about that. Just don't get too much in the way, and we're good. Be patient with me like I am with you. That's all I ask. We're down to seconds. We're down to seconds, guys. At least on my clock. I have to go by my time, my clock. I don't know how your timing is going, but in a few seconds, we're going to start. And we're going to start with influences and birth. Sort of like a combo package this time as lead in to DC Heroes. Here we are. Okay. So if people didn't make it. I'm sorry if they come in a little late. Well, they know I do fluff at the start, right? So it's hopefully some people get around by the time I'm getting to running the game. So DC Heroes RPG influences and birth. I will say Megs, MEGS, Megs often during this stream. Let me tell you what it stands for now, because I don't want to keep repeating what it stands for. Mayfair Exponential Game System. Let me say that again. Mayfair Exponential Game System. That's what it means. Oh shit, I'll say it one more time, just to clear the air for the replay people too. Mayfair Exponential Game System. Okay, let's get to it. Core influences. Now we know DC Comics, one of the most obvious. At the base level, this game is built directly from DC Comics. But the key point isn't just superheroes, it's how DC portrays the superheroes. So that's really important, right? Because it's not just about superheroes. This game is about how DC represents superheroes. Just a little key detail there that you should know. Massive power gaps. Superman versus Batman. Mythic tone. Wonder Woman tied to gods, not pulp roots. Stories that jump from street level, cosmic scale without breaking. This isn't Marvel style grounded escalation. This is structured, layered power fantasy. The big narrative influence, crisis level storytelling. The timing here matters because it's based on the time, not current times. Released, as I already said, in 1985. Same year as Crisis on Infinite Earths. That storyline normalized multiverse level stakes. A unified, systemized DC universe. Characters operating across different scales but still connected. This directly feeds into the RPG's core idea. Everything exists on one measurable scale. I see other people roaming in. I just hope. I'm just starting. We're just into the fluff, guys. The real design goal. DC Heroes was built to mathematically model the DC universe on a single scale. That's what makes it different. Not let's balance superheroes. Let's simulate reality, their reality. Instead, measure everything consistently, no matter the scale. So Batman works at human scale. Superman works at cosmic scale. And both still function in the same system. Okay, Craig, I'm going to mention this to you. Okay. I know Black Rose won't care. Little refresher on some of the early stuff here because we're just starting. So DC Heroes, this is influences and bursts, Craig. And you're going to hear me say the word Megs a lot, M-E-G-S tonight. And I want to tell you what that stands for because I don't want to keep repeating what it stands for. So I'll tell you now. Megs, when I mention it, it stands for Mayfair Exponential Game System. It is the game system for this. So it's called DC Heroes RPG, but Megs is the game system. You know, it's the engine of this. No problem, Craig. So we'll go start a little back. Core influences. You know this, Craig. Everyone's going to know this. DC Comics. At base level, this game is built directly from DC Comics. But the key point isn't just superheroes. It's how DC portrays them. Norway. I love Wales and Norway now. Definitely. So that's a really important point. So it's not just about superheroes, like in a general sense. It really is about how DC portrays the heroes. That's a really important point to understand this game. If you think you're getting some DC-based generic, hero game, you're not. You're getting a hero game, but the hero game is really about how DC represents the heroes. Really important. Massive power gaps, Superman versus Batman. Mythic tone, Wonder Woman tied to gods, not pulp roots. Stories that jump from street level, cosmic scale without breaking. This isn't Marvel style grounded. Escalation. This is structured, layered, power fantasy. The big narrative influence, crisis level storytelling. The timing here matters, as I already said. Released 1985. That's a very important timeline. Don't think of anything modern DC. Think about the timeline. It came out same year as Crisis on Infinite Earths. That storyline normalized multiverse level stakes. A unified, systemized DC universe. Characters operating across different scales, but still connected. This directly feeds into the RPG's core idea. Everything exists on one measurable scale. Okay. The real design goal. DC Heroes was built to mathematically model the DC universe on a single scale. That's what makes it different. Not let's balance superheroes, it's let's simulate the reality of the DC comics. So it goes back to old school mindset. It doesn't matter how simulation enters the game, combat, this or that. But a lot of old school designers always thought whatever they went after, it's a form of simulating whatever they're going to focus on. So simulation's always important. You'll notice that in every game I'm talking about. This simulates this. This simulates this. Simulation. It's not just random in that way or generic. Okay. Instead, measure everything consistently, no matter the scale. So Batman works at human scale, Superman works at cosmic scale, and both still function in the same system. System innovation, MEGS. Again, for anyone new here, I won't go through the whole thing, but I'll mention this one more time. So I don't want to keep explaining what MEGS means. MEGS, Mayfair Exponential Game System. It's called DC Heroes, but MEGS is the gaming engine. Okay, very important. So system innovation, MEGS, core idea. Every +1 doubles the effect. Every -1 equals half the effect. This creates clean scaling from human to superhuman to cosmic. A system where huge power gaps actually function. This is the real innovation, not just exponential math, but using it to replicate comic book power differences. The designers, Greg Gordon, primary architect of MEGS. Ray Winninger, early contributor, later big industry name. Greg Gordon is the key figure. This system is his solution to the DC problem. Okay. The publisher and license. Publisher, Mayfair Games. Again, released 1985. This is an official DC license, which matters more than people think. Because of that, characters had to reflect canon power level. So it has to really look at what the comic is putting out, because this is an actual thing from DC, official license from them. They want the game to reflect what they're representing, not the idea, but what they're actually representing in the comics. Okay. The system had to fit the universe, not reinterpret it. Design was constrained by accuracy, not convenience. They weren't inventing superheroes. They were reverse engineering DC comic book superheroes. The box set format. The original release came as a boxed set, not just a book. That signals strong system first design. Structure components, charts, tables, references. Influence from board game organization, not just RPG storytelling. This is the part of why the game feels more. This is part of why the game feels more engineered than many RPGs of the time. Most superhero RPGs try to balance heroes. DC Heroes tries to measure them. Not looking for balance, looking to represent what they actually are. Right? So how does a game work there where you can't just fit it to make it work easy? You have to adjust everything to it. DC Heroes isn't just a superhero RPG. It's a licensed attempt to faithfully model DC Comics, built on a system designed to handle extreme power differences, released at the exact moment DC was redefining its universe. It doesn't simulate reality, it simulates how DC Comics functions as a system. So how could you take the comics and really... Pendragon is about trying to tell a story. It's one of the only real story games back in the past I remember that really truly is trying to tell a story from the get-go, right? So in this case, they're trying to sort of get you what's from the comic book. So there's a bit of real storytelling focus here, unlike some of the other games, even though it's still gamey. And that's really the starting plot right there. So I'm jumping straight into how to run the game. That's influences and birth. There's only so much to cover in that area. So usually I give a lot more, like 2 pieces of fluff. This game is more about getting into the game, and there's a bit of fluff after this. But this is how to run DC Hero Mags. Run it like a comic book, not a simulation. This is the first rule, and if you get this wrong, everything else breaks. Remember, the game is made to get the story from the comic book, right? So if you go against that, the game starts to break down. Don't track everything like physics engines. Don't slow down for realism. Don't over-explain outcomes. Instead, think in comic panels and scenes, like the way they're doing the comic books. Prioritize dramatic outcomes over precise realism. Let things happen because they would look right in a DC comic. So if it'd be cool for the DC comic, this is where let the cool thing happen. But it has to be cool towards what the comic is representing as cool or whatnot, right? If it feels like a comic, you're running it correctly. Step 1. Okay, respect the scale. Mags will punish you if you don't. The system is exponential. That's not flavor, that's the backbone. +1 equals double the effect. Gaps of 5 to 10 equals completely different tier of existence. What this means at the table: Superman doesn't struggle with street threats. Batman doesn't trade punches with cosmic beings. How you run it properly: match threats to power bands, not just level, or shift the challenge away from raw combat. If you ignore scale, the game collapses fast. Build layered scenes. This is where the game comes alive. DC stories are never just fights. Every good scene should have multiple pressures. As we talked about with Traveler, pressures. It's true here. So multiple pressures happening at once. Physical threat equals villain. Time pressure equals disaster. Moral choice equals who do you save? Example: villain fight happening, bridge collapsing, civilians falling. Now players must split focus, make decisions, act like heroes, not damage dealers. This is how you make different power levels all matter. So if combat's not suitable for a certain type of character, you want to give them the hero thing, save the kids. But you want pressures too. Which person do you save? It's all about challenging them in different ways, like the comic book would. And it's not all about fighting. Though if you have a certain type of character, fighting's all on your side. This is opinion here. Okay, back to the facts. Don't balance power, balance spotlight. This game is not balanced. Don't try to fix that. Instead, Batman gets planning, detection, strategy, scenes. So, like we talked about Cyberpunk, this is a lot about setting up things for the character. Like Traveler would be more random. You choose what you want to do. And hey, if it can play to the type of character the player has, fine. They find ways to make that work. Cyberpunk expects you to actually set up the scene so it actually challenges, really gives the players with their characters a chance to really shine on who they are, like express it and be challenged by it. It's the same thing here. Superman, like I said, gets overwhelming force moments. Other heroes get specific lane. Your job, make sure each player has moments where only I can solve it. That's how DC works. And that's how the table stays engaged. You don't want to just give random where they're not even sure what to do. It's like, give them multiple scene. If you have different types of characters, all right, you need somebody to fly over here and save something. You need someone to investigate this thing over here and make sure they're checking the evidence all at the same time. It's about making sure there's these moments of spotlighting on what the player characters can do. Keep it fast. Kill the math when needed. It gives you permission to do this. Like there's rules, but it says, screw the rules. If it plays better to the outcome spotlight DC comic book approach. Megs can slow to a crawl if you let it. So don't, meaning don't calculate every modifier perfectly. Don't stop the game for exact measurements. Let things go. This could be this. So some of the nerdy pick apart stuff, you got to get out of your head. It's all about trying to recreate the comic thing, than trying to get exactly as the book says. Don't let rules override pacing. So if the rules to the game are slowing it down, all right, fuck it, yeah, don't worry about that. Just you get there. Instead, and here we're going to go, instead make quick calls. Keep momentum. Translate roles into immediate narrative outcomes. If someone asks, how far exactly can I throw this? You say, far enough to hit. Roll the dice. That's exactly how you would run that moment. It's you don't have to worry if it slows down to check the measurement. Oh, how far? Blah blah blah. No, fuck it. Just you can go ahead, roll the dice. Speed equals energy. Energy equals fun. So true. Some people like flow. I'm someone who does like speed. So this is why this game really, really appeals to me. Especially game mastering it. I love because I can do this, right? Really well. All right, reward smart play, especially for lower power characters. Because of scaling, weaker characters don't win through force. They win through planning, gadgets, exploiting weaknesses, using the environment. Critical rule for you as a game master. If a player comes up with something clever, let it work. If it's clever enough, don't worry. Again, don't worry about all the rules that would get in the way or slow it down. Okay, that's actually pretty cool, man. Yeah, that's smart. I'll for sure. If you shut this down, lower power characters feel useless. If you support it, they become essential. So when you let lower power characters do the cool things without trying to get the rules in their way, the player feels like they're actually achieving something. I know this. The player feels like with their Batman type character. Cool. I'm actually finding out the information we need. Like I'm actually useful, even though I'm not the cosmic guy flying around. Very important to the experience. And it really does work. That's a real thing here. Run a living DC world, not a static adventure. This is not a dungeon crawl. Your world should react. News coverage, public opinions, law enforcement, and government pressure. Recurring villains evolving over time so they can change to keep up with the pace of what's going on in the game. The world moves with or without the players, just like a cosmic universe. Are you hearing the traveler? The pressures, the world keeps happening. Traveler is such a fuck. So many games, even if they weren't directly inspired by Traveler, you can see where Traveler was ahead of its time. Can't you? All the ideas, Traveler is so useful for so many old games. And that's why I took some of their ideas for D&D. And the pressure thing outside of plot, that's the most genius thing Traveler came up with. Plot, it's like plot is secondary to starting off with pressures, and you build plots off them. Not you design the plot and try to put that into the game right away. Structure sessions like comic issues. Don't build adventure, so it's good to know the comics for real. Don't build adventures, build issues. Like if the issue covers this, that's what you're going to do. Like a small part, that's what you're doing. So build issues, clean structure, cold open. Something strange happens right at the opening of the game. Oh, what was that? Investigation, escalation, twist, big confrontation, cliffhanger, or fallout. If it feels like an episode of DC animated series, you nailed it. That's because that's what you're looking to get, right? The hard truth. DC Heroes is excellent at what it does, but run it like a traditional RPG, it drags. Treat it like a balanced combat game, it breaks. Play it like a comic, it works exactly as intended. You're not running a world, you're directing a comic book. Again, it's story becomes important, like Pendragon. Remember, in Pendragon, you're trying to get, from the get-go, your aim is to get an old mythical story. So when they say story games, there's a lot of games, I've heard story games, I'm like, I don't know if they're really story games. There's very few that are really story games. This is a bit gamey, but there is a story game focus here, like Pendragon. Hence, but it's comic book, right? Unique. Okay, that's how to run it. So you want to run it like a comic book. There you go. You don't want to have all the rules to get in the way. I hope that clears the air. So when you go in, don't just fly by that. Don't be a nerd about this game. This is where you got to get your nerd math out of your head and go, if you're going to nerd out on anything, nerd out on how the comic book is. That's where you put your nerd energy and then make sure that happens. DC Heroes character creation. Start with the concept, not the numbers. Before touching the system, you define who is this character, what kind of hero are they, what's their role in the world. Because this game is built to emulate DC Comics. Characters are archetypes first, stats second. Examples: Street Vigilante, Batman style. Powerhouse Alien, Superman style. Mythic Warrior, Wonder Woman style. If the concept is weak, the characters will feel flat no matter how good the numbers are. So you want to have it like the concept of who the character is actually does mean more than all the other things you're doing, because all the other things are going to help you define that character from there. But it's really you defining the idea of the hero first. Choose your power level. This is the most important mechanical decision. Because of Meg's scaling, small number changes equal massive power differences. Characters can exist on completely different tiers, typical ranges: street level, detective, martial artist; mid tier, superhumans, powered heroes; high tier, world class, cosmic. The GM should define the campaign scale first. Players build within that band, or the game breaks. So the characters have to really suit to what's actually going to be ran. So here's the approach from the game master. They have to communicate that up front, social contract stuff going in. Then once you understand where they're at, and they sort of clarify what kind of characters would fit in, and they should do that for you. So it gives you a clear understanding of what you need to think up instead of being random, right? Then you start, don't try to make a character that sort of leans outside of that. Attributes, the core stats. Characters are built on core attributes using apps, attribute points, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, will, and depending on the version, mind or influence. Key idea, these are not linear. +1 equals double capability. +5 equals completely different tier. Small stat differences a small stat difference is actually a huge difference in play. Powers. Powers, what makes you a superhero? This is where characters come alive. Powers are bought with points, defined with apps, the attribute points, at values, right? Extremely flexible. Example, flight, energy blast, super speed, telepathy, invulnerability. Important. Powers scale the same way as attributes. So it'd be like A +2 boost isn't small, it's massive. High app powers quickly dominate scenes, if not controlled by the campaign scale. Skills. Skills matter more than people expect. They define what your character can do consistently, how they solve problems outside of raw power. Examples, martial arts, detective, investigation, gadgetry, technology, stealth, or persuasion. This is where lower power characters stay relevant based on these skills. It's very important for the lower, weaker characters to really be playing on the skills as the other guys are flying around showing off their power. Advantages and drawbacks. This is one of the most important and often overlooked parts. Advantages, resources, contacts, wealth, equipment. Drawbacks, secret identity, code against killing, vulnerabilities, weaknesses, and enemies. These are not just flavor, they drive stories. A weakness or an enemy is basically the GM saying, I have permission to bring this into play. So once you have these things as part of your gimmick, they can play off your weaknesses, bring enemies in, right? That's the idea. Put it on you. Heat. Derived value and final build. After attributes, powers, and skills, you calculate health, defense values, initiative, derive stats based on app relationships. This is where Meg's math comes together. Don't get lost in it. Get it functional and move on. Okay, the real rule, stay on the concept you started with. This is the most important practical advice that I can give you on this. Build to your concept, not to the optimization. So whatever you came in, like whatever idea you had, that's where you want to really focus, not just try to make it better and better. It's just what really is that? What is your plan on that? Because again, this is more about story than just all that stuff. Over-optimized characters can dominate. Underbuilt characters can become irrelevant. They just don't have what you need. But if everyone builds to the same tone and scale, the system works exactly as intended. The hard truth. Character creation in DC Heroes is powerful, but if players chase numbers, the game breaks. If players mismatch power levels, Spotlight collapses. If players build to concept, the game shines. You're not building a character, you're building a comic book role in a story. Like that's you're here to tell a story. There's a gaming aspect to it, but this is storytelling. It's not what people think when they hear DC Heroes. They're thinking superhero game. I'm like, well, it's more the vein of like Pendragon storytelling, ironically, but with some traveler concepts with how you play and run this game, right? Now we're on to the setting. The setting, the DC universe. The game is officially licensed from DC Comics. So its setting is Gotham City, Metropolis, the Miskera, whatever it is, space, alternate Earths, and beyond. It's not inspired by, it is the actual DC world. It's built around canon at the time. Remember, 1985. The game reflects DC continuity as it existed in the mid 1980s. Post-Crisis on Infinite Earths unified timeline. Official versions of characters, established locations, villains, and organizations. You weren't just playing a superhero game. You were playing inside DC canon as understood in 1985. That's where your mind has to be. But here's the important twist. Unlike most RPGs, there is no single default campaign story. No central starting region like a dungeon or a kingdom. Instead, the game gives you the entire DC universe as a toolbox or sandbox and expects you to build your own stories inside of that sandbox, that world. How it's meant to be used. You got three main ways to run it. Play existing heroes, use Superman, Batman, etc. Recreate comic style stories with them. This leans into the license hard, so you can just play what they're representing. So they do give you a Superman, Batman, and you can play just those characters. Create your own heroes in DC, new heroes operating in Gotham, Metropolis, etc. This is the most common play style. Make your own. It always going to be. Nobody wanted to play the exact heroes. Just the truth. Nobody I met anyway. Build your own version of DC alternate timelines, custom cities or teams, remix the universe. The system fully supports these changes in your own ideas. So even though it's licensed and it has to represent what the thing is, it's not like DC said you can't then alter it for your own take, right? There's no hard push on that. The setting is massive, but that's a double-edged sword. Strength, endless material, instantly recognizable world, deep lore to pull from, weaknesses can feel overwhelming. No clear starting point. GM has to decide what matters. See, you got to have someone who the creative person has to be the guy running it. The guy who can get where he wants, knows how to cut his thoughts down and really come up with something. It's not made for someone having a hard time being decisive. DC Heroes doesn't give you a setting. It hands you the entire DC universe and says, figure out your own story. Yes, it has a setting. It does. It is the DC universe, but it's not structured like most RPGs. It's a licensed universe sandbox, not a guided campaign world. Okay, let's talk about Megs, where the game breaks. It's important to know. Like, this is the type of stuff you know for sure if you've ran the game or played the game. The scale problem. The system works too well. Megs does exactly what it's designed to do. It models massive power differences accurately, and that's the problem. At the table, Superman trivializes most threats, meaning most threats against a Superman type character, easy. Batman can't directly engage high tier enemies, so that really limits what you can do with the Batman character. So these things are scaling right, but then you as a game master have to make sure that your reaction to who they are doesn't make the characters useless or make things meaningless. The system doesn't bend to keep everyone relevant. This is why players leave. This is where it breaks. Some feel useless. Others feel unstoppable, gets boring. Group cohesion breaks if the GM doesn't actively manage this. So a lot of this is GM failure will kill the game. That's the truth. The math and lookup drag. Megs is elegant in design, but at the table, constant app comparisons, column shifts, table lookups, it can slow the game down hard. Why players leave. Feels technical instead of cinematic. Breaks immersion. Turns fast superhero action into stop and check gameplay. So remember how I told you, don't do that. If the game master doesn't streamline, the system fights the pacing. So it's, if you go by exactly what it's saying, you start killing the game. It's exactly right. So that's what they're saying. It's not like the game is made exactly as it should be. But in a weird way, if you play to that, you also kill the experience at the table. Strangely. That's why it's saying we made a game where it works if you ignore some of the shit we tell you to do. Strange, but true. Character creation, as we already talked about, can break the game. The system gives players a lot of freedom. That sounds good until it isn't. Small app differences, massive equals massive impact. Certain power scales insanely well. Optimization can spiral quickly. Quickly. What happens? One player builds a monster, another builds a thematic character. They are not playing the same game anymore. Right? Totally different experience. Why players leave? Spotlight imbalance because of this. Frustration from weaker builds when comparing to the other characters and what they can do. Why am I even here? Moments. It's possible to hear that. Why am I even here? Like I'm useless to this game. My character is useless. You don't want that. That's why the game master has to manage all that. Well, it's almost like Cyberpunk. It puts a lot on the game master to sort of help players play their characters. I went over this with Cyberpunk. It's just it's an advanced way of running it compared to Traveler. Traveler, you just set up the pressures and the moments. And it's like it's Cyberpunk in this. It's like, okay, you sort of do that, but you gotta play specific to the characters and make sure there's all of these things and measure it spotlight. It's not hard technically to understand the rules. It's just getting that right. Oh, true. 100%, Craig. It had so many different ways of making money, toys, movies, the whole nine, not just comic books, but this is all about leaning into the comic books. And here's another part. It demands a strong GM, not safety rails. So all the things I'm telling you, it's almost all GM failure. I got to be real with you. The game depends on the guy running it, just like Cyberpunk. Playing these games are easy. If I said playing DC Heroes is hard, I'd be lying to you. It's only hard if the GM isn't getting it right. That's if he gets it right, it communicates, does all that, and your teamwork that way, you got it. So it demands a strong GM, no safety rails. This system does not protect you. Oh yeah, no doubt. That's again. This is where it's. If you go by the rules, that's what you're. Craig, you're completely right. That's what the game is saying. We did DC properly. If you do all the stuff we do here, you get the complaints, the issues, the leaving, right? That's why the GM has to go, okay, how do I make a comic book thing that works? Like a comic book issue that works for the characters in the thing. So somebody reading it isn't going, what the fuck is that guy there? He's looking in the background. That's useless. He's not doing anything. Like the idea is, could you present this session or a number of sessions to a reader and have them reading going, oh man, it's cool what he's doing. Oh, he's over here doing this. So how well can your comic book story be? It's a story first game. Story first game. So it's all about the game mastering, a game master helping the players, and then the game master with that creates a story that you would want to read in a comic book. Very important. There are no built-in fixes for power imbalance, scene structure, spotlight control. This is what the game master has to actively manage all of it. When players leave, weak GM equals chaotic sessions. Strong characters dominate, especially under a weak game master. Too much spotlight. Quiet players disappear. Pressure to get the quiet player active. Without the game master doing that right, they disappear. This is not a plug-and-play RPG. So the game master can't sit back and be lazy. Like Cyberpunk. You can't just sit back, throw a random thing out there. All right, guys, deal with it. You can't do that. Okay. It punishes traditional RPG playstyles. If players come in expecting tactical combat balance, dungeon-style progression, fair fights, they're going to hit a wall because DC Heroes is built for narrative escalation, uneven fights, problem-solving beyond combat when players leave. This feels unfair. Why can't I win this fight? Why does combat feel weird? It's not broken. It's just not that kind of game. So all the things that they're expecting, it's not that. Tone mismatch kills campaigns. This one is subtle but deadly. If players aren't on the same page, one plays dark grounded, another plays cosmic powerhouse, another plays comedic. The game starts pulling in different directions while why players leave. Story feels inconsistent because you're all over the place. Characters don't fit together. The game master can make that happen, but if you don't have the strongest game master, what does help is getting characters closer to similar types. Tone clashes breaks immersion. So the tone clashing, like these things not working together, breaks the immersion, gets the people complaining. Okay, it doesn't feel fair, even when it's working. Even when it's working. The system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Power differences matter. Not every fight is winnable. Some characters are just better at certain things, but players coming in from traditional RPGs expect balance, equal contribution in combat, predictable outcomes, why they leave. This isn't fair. And they're right. It's not trying to be fair. So this is where the game master really has to make all this work, make their role meaningful, even when they're not, say, on the same scale. Right? It's like, how do you bring these two into the scene where the Batman is effectively good in the story, and so is Superman for what they're doing. And there's enough sharing a spotlight to achieve that. DC Heroes doesn't fail because it's poorly designed. It fails because it commits fully to simulating DC Comics. Most players aren't used to playing that way. DC Heroes doesn't break by accident. It breaks when you try to play it like a normal role-playing game. Very important. Okay, now we just went over the negatives. Now we're going to focus on what it does better. DC Heroes. What it does better than almost every other superhero RPG. It nails power scaling for real. Most superhero RPGs either flatten power differences or break when characters get too far apart. DC Heroes doesn't. Superman feels like Superman. Batman feels like Batman. And the system doesn't pretend they're equal. It's one of the only systems that actually handles Street, Cosmic on the same framework. So Street and Cosmic on the same framework, same gimmick, same engine. One engine for everything. Maze isn't a patchwork system. It applies the same logic to strength, speed, time, distance, damage. That means no weird subsystem clashes, No, this works differently over here. It feels like a true engine, not a collection of rules. Very important. It actually feels like DC Comics. This is where it separates itself. The game naturally produces split second hero decisions, multiple threats at once, uneven fights, big dramatic moments. You don't have to force comic book feel, the system pushes you there. When I talk about cyberpunk in this, I met a lot of what I call, I'll be honest with you guys. Here's my experience. I'll meet someone who tells me they're good at running cyberpunk. I go watch. And given what I've told you Cyberpunk expects, they don't run it well. The players don't know the difference. There's breakdowns, and the breakdowns are happening for the reason I tell you, right? So I would call that not well. I've seen a lot of people try to run this game. The challenge is running it. It's not difficult to understand the rules. It's just most people fail running this. They're trying to get you to not fail, but it's being able to measure things out in your mind. It's a lot of mental work, right? It's almost like Rollmaster, where the more you do it, the more you're going to get better at it. But that early on can just, especially from an explanation like this, it can make the game sound very intimidating. It rewards smart play over raw power. Well, actually, before we get there, it actually feels like DC Comics. This is where it separates itself. The game naturally produces split-second hero decisions, multiple threats at once. Like I said, uneven fights. Just going over it again because I want to restart there. Uneven fights, big dramatic moments. You don't have to force, again, going over it. A few more people coming in. You don't have to force comic book feel. The system pushes you there, as I said. Now, it rewards smart play over raw power. So it does want you to play the game smart, and it actually tells the game master to reward that with yeses instead of dice rolls or maybes. Because power gaps are real, strong characters can't solve everything. Smart characters become essential if you're giving the balance. Planning, tactics, and creativity actually matter. This is one of the few superhero RPGs where being clever can matter more than being strong. So really, really push the game master to reward smart play, because it's another appealing thing. Players will actually love the DC hero game. It's the most difficult part that I have a hard time with Cyberpunk and this game explaining. It's not difficult. It just sounds stressful. It's the amount of mental work. Not that the rules are hard to understand. Cyberpunk is not hard to understand. DC Heroes rules are easy to understand. It's just mentally running it, getting all the measurements out, getting things down. But once you start doing it, it's like a lot of other games. You just realize it's not as hard as it sounds, but you just got to get a little bit used to, I got to measure out. And you get used to measuring out where you can actually have a Superman and Batman in the same gimmick. Okay. It supports mixed power teams when run properly. That's always the important part. Most systems struggle with mixed teams. DC Heroes doesn't if run correctly. See, it's going to drill that at you all the time because it is dependent on the game master. It's not hard to understand rules. The games are easy. Cyberpunk and this. It's just getting a guy who mentally can do this and put it together and get used to it and comfortable with it. And if you find the right person, this game is fucking amazing. Cyberpunk is fucking amazing. High-power characters handle massive threats. Lower-power characters handle precision, strategy, and complications. Everyone has a role, just not the same role. It leverages one of the strongest settings ever. It really does, because it's tied to DC Comics. So you get decades of lore, iconic locations, built-in villains, and yeah, story hooks. You're not building a world from scratch. You're stepping into one of the most developed settings ever made. And if you understand the comics, that's really important to understand the comics. If you're a comic guy, this might not sound so hard. But if you're someone who's read a few of them and you still want to play, that's where it can get challenging. You got to learn some shit. It knows exactly what it is. Oh, this is what it does better. It knows exactly what it is. This is the biggest strength. DC Heroes doesn't try to be beginner friendly, be perfectly balanced, appeal to everyone. So again, Cyberpunk is the same way. It's not for your first night, get ready to bump all over the place. This is a game like Rollmaster, but doesn't take as long as Rollmaster to get used to start having a better experience, to get what the game is trying to give to you. You got to get used to it. So it's not beginner friendly. That's just the truth. It commits fully to simulate DC Comics as accurately as possible. That clarity of purpose is why it still stands out. Most superhero RPGs try to adapt superheroes to an RPG structure. DC Heroes does the opposite. It adapts the RPG mechanics to fit superheroes, how superheroes actually works in DC. DC Heroes isn't the easiest superhero RPG, but it might be the most honest one ever made. Period. Because it's real. Especially if you're a fan of the DC Comics, you're going to really appreciate how it doesn't soften what they are from the comics. It says no, the mechanics will adjust to make that real. It's not for everyone. It demands effort. It can break if mishandled, bad game mastering. But when it works, it delivers something most superhero RPGs never quite reach. It actually feels like playing inside of a comic book. I can say that because I've done it. I ran it where I know I ran it right. It is what it is if you get this right. Now you guys know I do this in every one of the games. So this is DC Heroes Criticisms versus Defense. Criticism 1. The power gap ruins the game. Characters exist on a wildly different scales. Superman can trivialize threats. Batman can feel useless in the wrong fight. Feels unbalanced and unfair. The defense. That's exactly how DC works. The system is not trying to balance. It's trying to accurately represent the universe, as I've already stated. The solution isn't balance. It's scene design and spotlight control. That's the game master gimmick. That's what I've been telling you from the get-go. It's like Cyberpunk. You're given things to benefit what to get players where they can actually play their characters for what they are. So the scene has to have something where, okay, Superman could fly up and save these people that might fall. But there's also, why did that happen? Who's the bad guy around? You need someone to look around and find the evidence. So you get the Batman looking for the evidence. He's going to have skills to look, investigate, and you want to spotlight both of their actions. You spotlight Superman flying up to save the people stuck in the thing. You spotlight the Batman character investigating, finding information, and they're working as a team to find out why this is all happening to begin with. Who's the bad guy? Why is that the way it is? So the problem is actually the system doing its job correctly. So that's the point. Like these issues are meant to be there. It's on the game master to balance, not to worry about the issues existing. They exist. It's the balance of the scenes in that by the game master. That's again why it's a little bit more mental work on the game master, not just so simple like Traveler. Criticism number 2, the system is too math heavy. At math, column shifts, table lookups, slows the game down, breaks immersion. The defense, the math creates clean, universal scaling across everything. Once learned, it becomes fast and consistent. Again, getting used to it. It solves a problem most superhero RPGs fail at. You're trading simplicity for precision across all power levels to get it right. So again, this is where it's not bending to what an RPG can be. The RPG and the mechanics are bending to DC. Criticism number 3, character creation is easy to break. Players can min-max into broken builds. Small act changes equals massive advantages. Uneven characters ruin group play. The defense. The system expects concept first design, not optimization. So when I went through character creation, That's what I was saying. What you don't start with the stats and go through all the numbers. You decide what the character is going to be. And then the idea is be true to the initial design instead of trying to make that stronger, right? Hence the min-max. Like, instead of trying to make it more than what you came up with, stick to what you came up with. Like, if it sounds acceptable, and that's the whole talk beforehand, you're going to talk it out. You're going to talk to the game master. And if you both decide that's good, well, then your job is to not go, can I make them stronger? No, that goes against what you came up with. So go, okay, I won't max him out. I'll measure it down to stick to the concept I had that we agreed on that works before you got into the numbers. So again, the system expects concept first design, not optimization. DC itself has uneven heroes. That's intentional. Strong GM guidance solves most of this. So that's the talk up front. So if you have a good game master, like myself, or an experienced one at least, then I'm going to make sure you understand what we're going after with the build. It's not a build game. It's a roll first game. So getting the roll right. Criticism number 4. It relies too much on the GM. No safety rails. GM must manage scale, tone, spotlight. Weak GM equals broken game. True. The defense, it's designed for active, creative direction. Comic storytelling requires a guiding hand, the game master. In strong hands, it produces better narrative results than rigid systems. This is a high-skill GM system, not a beginner one, like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is strong person running the game. Once you know that, like, it's playing these games are not the hard part. It is the running. It's not understand the rules. Again, I want to keep repeating that because I don't want people to be scared away from simple rule games. They're not hard. Cyberpunk is easy. DC Heroes is easy to understand. It's the management. It's the mind game the game master is playing. Okay, criticism number 5. It doesn't play like a normal RPG. Combat isn't balanced. Not every fight is winnable. Progression feels different. The defense, that's because it's not trying to be that kind of game. It's built for narrative escalation, uneven encounters, problem solving beyond combat. If you expect D&D, you'll hate this. If you play it like a comic book, it clicks. Like it will play that out. So people playing the game or running the game, if they're really comic book fans and they really want to get that out of this, they're going to get it. If you come in going, hey man, is this like D&D? No, don't try to do it that way. This criticism number 6. The setting is too big and unfocused. Entire DC universe is overwhelming. No clear starting point. GM must define everything. Now, we went over a few of these, but I'm just really drilling these because these are constant criticisms. The defense, you get one of the richest settings ever created. Total freedom to choose tone, scale, and focus. Supports multiple playstyles without restrictions. Its sandbox freedom comes with responsibility. So you got a giant sandbox, but it's the responsibility of the game master to manage what's going on in the sandbox in a unique way. Criticism number 7, and you've already heard this, and the last little part here, it feels unfair. Some characters dominate. Some problems can't be solved by everyone. Outcomes aren't evenly distributed. The defense, DC stories are not fair. Heroes contribute in different ways. Spotlight replaces balance as the core design. So it doesn't matter that Batman can't fly up and do the thing. It matters if Batman has something to do, like find the information to find out what villain did it. Superman has something to do. He has to fly up and save the people, not look for the villain before they fall and die. And both are going to have their spotlight time to do these things. So it doesn't matter if the scale is even. It's the things to do there. Are they clicking for both? If not, say you have nothing for Batman to do. He just stands there and goes, okay, you fly up and save them, I guess. That's bad game mastering. Okay. So fairness isn't the goal. Authenticity is. The real core debate. This is what everything comes down to. Do you want a balanced game or a game that actually feels like DC Comics? Because DC Heroes, choose one. If you choose being authentic over balance, DC Heroes isn't broken. It just refuses to pretend superheroes are equal. So it's not going to say Batman can do what Superman does. Like, it accepts the major differences. Major. Okay. Hour and 10 minutes. I feel like I burned through that too fast. God damn. Again, I got more material for later stuff for these to do other streams, especially when I go over the game mastering for Cyberpunk and this game. And because I really do want to do a stream on that, because even though I'm going over the difficulties, I do have a stream planned on trying to explain to make these things easier. But this is just how they pitch out through the actual facts, right? I have my personal opinions on these things. Game mastering can sound intimidating, and most of the people I see try to run DC Heroes get it wrong. They don't do a great job. You get these complaints, and they are common. Sorry about that. So they are common. That is the thing. They are common. Boom. We're in casual time. Done. That's superhero. So in many ways, you got the DC Heroes is something like Traveler and Pressures and ways you view it. But the game mastering is very similar to Cyberpunk in the way you have to set up scenes and all that focused on the characters or roles, who they are. Where, say, if you go back to Traveler, you're doing the pressure, you're doing all that, but it's a lot less focus on you as a game master, just focusing on who the characters are. You're just going to give the group situations and they deal with it. Yeah. I believe that. I 100% believe that. It's like when I go Call of Cthulhu. I know that game was more popular in Japan than, say, Dungeons and Dragons was. I'm not surprised Judge Dredd is a more appealing TTRPG. So many more to cover, but that will be one of them for sure. But DC Heroes, it did have a lot of. You're right. It's spread around. UK liked DC Heroes. It liked a bit of Cyberpunk too, right? But the Cyberpunk and DC Heroes, it's different games. But the managing the game master part is really playing to the characters and not just random scenes where it's a couple of different things, and hopefully they can think of ways to use this stuff. But no. You have to put specific things in there for Cyberpunk characters or DC Heroes to really play to really challenge who the characters are. Let them play out their skills, right? Oh, I know Call of Cthulhu is just, let's be real, it's popular everywhere. I mean, even in the West, even with the popularity of D&D, it doesn't mean it wasn't popular here, right? In Canada and in the States, but especially in Japan, but I'm not surprised at all in the UK that it's big. I don't know where Norway would fall on some of these games. And I don't know Black Rose would exactly know that. I know he likes to hear about this stuff. He's definitely a second edition guy. D&D made its way over there, no doubt. But yeah, Call of Cthulhu is fucking immensely good, right? And it's like tonight, what I'm going to hear like several people on the side somewhere tell me, you got DC Heroes wrong. I'm like, no, I didn't. I ran it like fucking a lot of times. I didn't at all. And it's similar to but rules are easy to understand, as I said, with Cyberpunk. It is the extra challenge beyond, like, it's almost like running Traveler, but you have an extra challenge of your scene isn't just a scene with pressures and you create something out of it. The scene has to literally look at the characters in the group. Black Rose, defeated by the baby. Cool. I'm glad you're listening. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. But it really is a mind fuck for the game master until you just get used to it. But some guys don't even get used to it. They sort of just carelessly go into it. It somewhat works, players put up with some of the faults. So the complaints you're hearing, a lot of players I see would quietly have an issue with it, but go back and play it for a while anyway, or say to their game master after a while without saying no. They'd be like, can we play a different game? It's something I get used to. The great thing is, I did Cyberpunk. When I did Cyberpunk in this, because I sort of had these experiences, I was easy adapting both games. And I read a bunch of comics, so I knew the DC universe pretty well. My memory was good at the time. Back at the time, I ran it around 93, but I'm looking at 1985. I added some things from, but remember, it says you can adjust the world and add new things. But the idea is you're getting the setting from 1985. Like you're starting there and then doing stuff. Maybe. I mean, it's a great game. Call of Cthulhu, very popular. When I cover that, people are going to be very happy. I know a lot of people know about Call of Cthulhu, or at least know the popularity of the game. Call of Cthulhu is so popular. It's D&D level popular in many ways because of how popular it was globally. Forget, like, in America, D&D. Most of the world, D&D in some parts of the world, but almost every place, Call of Cthulhu. Get Japan especially, and maybe even in parts of the UK, maybe even in parts of Norway, Call of Cthulhu rules the day, right? That's, again, I just don't want to, like, I want to hype up. I love DC Heroes and Cyberpunk. I don't want to intimidate people away from these games. The players should never be worried about these games. Cyberpunk and DC Heroes is so easy to play, so fun to play. It's really finding a good game master. And it's, again, the rules are easy even for the game master to understand. So the rules of both Cyberpunk and DC Heroes, easy to get. Easy as fucking pie to understand. Not hard at all. It is the game master needing to understand that unlike Traveler, which is a very similar game to these two in many ways, the pressures and all this, it's the extended part where you don't just set up the scene and players play to it. You got to look at the characters, and the scenes have to be set up to play to the characters. Exactly. So it's an extra challenge of DC Heroes. It's like I go back to the basic scene I give you. That was mid when we get to around 95. That's my World of Darkness. I love Vamp. I am already running it, so that's been fun. I'm glad I can just jump into it and do a good job. So I'm very happy with that. Back to doing some vampire, but the most basic DC hero thing is giving you the Batman Superman example that I give you. It's you got a scene, and just say the scene needs to work for both Batman and Superman. What would that mean? How would you spotlight the mode? It's a villain has put people in a threatening situation where they might fall. Now, Batman can't just fly up easily and save them, but Superman can. That's where he's going to use his powers. He's going to get a spotlight in saving people and using his cosmic alien super gimmick, right? But what about Batman? He's going to have a chance to see something that can lead him to evidence to find the villain that is doing the thing, putting the people in danger. And you're going to spotlight the Superman character saving the people, but then you're also going to spotlight Batman type of character investigating, finding the thing. So both of them have measured out and fair spotlights in the scene, and they don't have to be the same power, but in almost everything you're doing, when you have a group like that, almost every scene has to have some, usually, unless you're just some talking, some stuff where it's not about investigation, maybe role play, comic book story parts where you're just doing other things. When you finally get to action scenes, that's what you're talking about here is action scenes. There has to be a reason for Batman to be doing something where you spotlight it, and it makes the player feel important. It's like, okay, the super guy is flying up to save the people. What do? Investigate, find out who the villain is. Oh, yeah. And then when he finds out, he feels useless or useful as a player. And the other part DC Heroes tells you is when a player like that comes up with, especially a lower, weaker character player comes up with a really intelligent way to do something, it doesn't matter if the skills exactly match. You should be saying, I like that. Yep. Yeah, you can do that. And you go with it. Yeah, Craig Chambers, totally understand. There was so much in legalese too. Some of the Here's one of my favorite comic stuff that came out of UK, Transformers. The UK stuff on Transformers is some of the best Transformer comics I've ever read in my fucking life. I actually think they did a better job on most of the characters. I ended up just loving Transformer comic books from the UK compared to I like some of the Western stuff, but the take on the characters, and it was different. It was like the multiverse thing where you had the two different, it's like same characters but two different fucking realities. In the UK, their take on stuff was always better. Though I'll say this, I'll give the Western comics this. They look prettier early on, but I didn't care because the storytelling in the UK comics for Transformers was immensely better. Immensely better. Better takes on characters and everything. So totally understand that. I just knew tonight wouldn't be long. I burned through DC Heroes. I knew. Because it has its similarities. But the great thing about the math and scaling down, the thing as a game master you got to know is if you're looking to measure at every detail like a nerd, but it starts slowing the game down, you just go, okay, how far can I throw? Yeah, you can hit it. Just roll the dice. You can fire. You can throw it far enough to hit. You just don't bother stopping and worrying too much over minor actual details in the rules. And the game is actually telling you to do that because you want it to play fast. And that is an aim to get that fast pace feeling for the players. So they're feeling like they're playing the game faster. If you stop and go, let me check the number to see it. No, don't. That slows down. Stop doing that. Bad game mastering. That's what the game tells you. That's what the game tells you. Oh, Monkey, we're sitting back watching. I'm glad. I'm glad you took some of that in. It's just telling you exactly what you got to do. So if you get the game, everything I told you in this, other than you got to understand the exact rules, which isn't hard. Everything I told you in this is 1,000,000% correct. So again, character creation is come up with the idea, pitch the idea with your game master. Once you accept it, don't try to make a character more powerful or more this. It's not, you can min max, but the game is telling you is you don't. It's intent first, and you make sure the stats stay to the intent. Oh, I can make it more powerful. No, stay to the intent, right? That's what you're doing. So the game doesn't break in a way where you're like, my guy's too powerful, because that's what the game will turn into if you min max, right? The game mastering part, just like Cyberpunk, it's just a mental game of always understanding how you spotlight things out. So it's always in action scenes, making sure all the characters have their different things to do. But then there's scenes like talking, meeting people, doing stuff like that. Doesn't need like everyone can go talk to people, right? So there's a lot of things you don't have to worry about. Everyone can just be active in that in different ways. But when you get to action scenes and you have characters like Batman and Superman working together, it has to always be there's something to investigate. There's something lower end to do, right? That Batman can do and be spotlighted, focused on. But at the same time, there's always something for Superman to do. Oh, okay, we need to find this guy fast, right? So you get like the radios out. Batman's looking for the information. He gets the information. Superman's flying around looking. He communicates to Superman. Here he is, flies into the building, gets the thing. And it's spotlighting Batman, finding the information first, and then he communicates to Superman, who's looking around, spotlight the Superman to fly into the thing where he's gotten the information and get the villain. So now it's again that spotlighting action, right? And you got to just do that every time. If not, it could be like, okay, we're here. You just fly around saving everyone. What's Batman doing? He's watching. Bad game master for GC Heroes. So it's just action. It's all you got to worry is the measurement in action. It's almost the same thing in Cyberpunk. That would be the secret to making it easier on you, is understand Cyberpunk isn't always action, but when you get action, when you get activities, they're meant to challenge the characters, right? Probably. As crazy as it sounds, probably with a good game master. With a good game master, probably. But that's the important part to Cyberpunk, and it's not a good game master doesn't understand the rules. That part, anybody can game master the rules to either game. It's comfortably coming up with the action bits and the need. Smurfs could be, all kinds of things. All kinds of clever little things you can do to take down a bigger person. Yeah. Some stronger Smurfs with weapons. Some of the other ones are more clever. Type his feet, set traps. That's a trap Smurf. This is an action Smurf. Right? Trap, trip up, hammer in the head with the bigger, stronger Smurf. Yeah, you could pull that off. I could pull it off. But yeah, DC heroes like it. So Cyberpunk, the same big thing. Not every scene has to be exactly, it could be towards group when you got to talk to people, right? But if it's action or something in that vein, or even option to action for Cyberpunk, it's make sure the action is really pushing on the exact rules of the characters, not just some random thing like Traveler. Right? Oh, you pray, yeah. I could, geez, dude, I could do it with D&D. I could do it with Dungeons and Dragons. Well, at least just any old school system anyway. Give me AD&D 1E, basic, even a regional. Just let me host rule some shit. I'll be fine. We'll get Smurfs going. Pretty good stuff, right? But that's to ease up. That should be less, like, that's sort of the genius part. I wish I would have said that during Cyberpunk 2. Because I make the game mastering sound very challenging. It's not understanding the rules. It's making sure scenes are challenging the rules. Not every scene has to do that. Scenes could be just a group talking to someone. But when you finally get to some action or something pushing to challenge the characters in a unique way beyond talking, as say in Cyberpunk, that's when the challenger you should be looking at the rules and how do these not just handle, like challenge one character, but how could you challenge, say, the 4 or the 3 differently in these scenes? But you got to challenge each one in their role. So you push the player to have to play to their role in the scene, not just like Traveler where it's random and the players can use their role, could do their stuff, but you're not sitting there trying to design the whole scene to make sure it challenges exactly what the characters are. Cyberpunk, you're doing that. DC Heroes, the same thing, but it's action, not every scene. So action always has to be, there's the thing for Superman, there's the thing for Batman. Right? And once you understand it's just action, then you understand it's not everything. But when you do, it's common sense again. It's always about how can this play out in these two different ways, and how can both characters have their spotlight, have their meaningful moment in the scene. So yeah, Superman's not going to find out that information that Batman's going to fucking go inside and investigate and realize, because he gets the skills and the knowledge, the smarts, he gets it. He needs to help Superman, who's super powerful. He gets the information, radios up to Superman, go in here, the villain's hiding in the spot. Superman then gets spotlighted, uses his power with the new information from Batman, and Batman gets spotlight. He's useful, even though you have a super alien. But the alien Superman is still useful with the information. He can get to the villain in a way in speed time that Batman can't. Good presentation, and I kind of expected these elements from this system. You sold the game solid, but I wouldn't want this one as much as the others. No, I understand that. Traveler itself is good. Tunnels and Trolls is beautiful. Traveler just doesn't get you to need to do all this extra shit. So in a way, these are like Traveler mindset games. But this one is the closest thing to storytelling outside of Pendragon. A lot of other old games are just old games. Pendragon, when you talk about storytelling for real, without talking about emergent story, where the storytelling is the intent of the game, Pendragon is trying to tell a story. Not an emergent one. It's trying to tell a story. It's made to tell a story. This one, in many ways, because it's the own comic book, is made to tell a story, not a story emerging from what you do. You are there to tell a story, but in the comic book format with Pendragon, it's trying to tell the legendary, mythical, King Arthur type stories, trying to create a situation where what you do can lead to that story. Well, that's another thing is, if DC was going to back it, DC is not going to back a product like this if it doesn't give you Superman or Superman. So yes, Craig, a lot of people that got this game that weren't hot in the game still said the same thing. They always complimented it. They said, well, man, at least it sticks to the comics. Like, it is at least true to the comics. You'd hear those statements all the time, even from people that didn't like the game. Well, I appreciate that's not on me. Your presentation was, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I hope some people come by this, like Cyberpunk. Like Philo, he's a Cyberpunk guy. I hope he gets to watch the replay of this. I really do, because this is DC Heroes should be right up his alley. If you can run Cyberpunk well, you can run DC Heroes well. That's all I got to say. It's different in its own way, but if you have the mind for it, for game mastering Cyberpunk, and you're good at it, your mind will work for DC Heroes. I know this personally from running both. Well, that's Black Rose. It is all about, now you can say, you know what DC Heroes is. Now it's no more, I wonder what that is. At least you know you're not interested. It's better than wondering, I wonder if I'd be interested in that. So now you're not going to go buy it or take the chance on it. Now you know, right? A superb, supers. Yes, they are. They're a mythology, and they're gods. In many ways, you could tell some really deep stories with some of the Marvel and DC stuff. Yeah, totally, Craig. It is mythology. It is gods, right? But you're doing it in their comic book style. That's the thing. You're still thinking it's all cool, and you could do deeper stories, but this game is still more made for just the comic book story. But you could adjust this. You could adjust this and tell very epic stories. In a way, you could still tell them through the idea of like some comic books are three or four parts. You know what I mean? So yeah, you could do like a small campaign of comic books that are all like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, right? And it's all going to be sort of like that. That's exactly what you're doing with multiple sessions. The idea is to try to get something close to a comic, out of one session, maybe 2, then maybe 2 more is the next part or whatever. It depends on where you want to go with that. I know some people that like to play with multiple characters. So they play a comic book with so much with these 2 characters, and then everyone would jump in with their backup characters. Not backup, but their other characters. So they can play boom, 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 boom. And then even it's like becomes a shared world. It is. Now you can mix and match. Like, okay, I'm going to use my Superman, or I'm going to use my Wonder Woman type, right? Even though originally it was like a Batman type, but now you're going to use the 2 different characters together, and you're going to maybe count them all as being part of the same group. But one group goes over here, they do their comic book, another group goes over here, but you're going to create a plot, right? Connect everything through pressure. Just saying. So that should have been the thing I should have said about Cyberpunk. If anybody listened to the Cyberpunk thing the other day, that's what I would say. Not every scene is drill on hard, but Cyberpunk does push you to do this a bit more than DC Heroes. I'll give it. Cyberpunk does expect most scenes to really be tailored to the characters, right? Where it's how you got 3 different players, say, playing the same game. How does a scene challenge each one of their roles? Makes them define who they are. How is it always pushing to 3? But there are a good number of scenes where you can say they had to go talk to the guy about getting the thing repaired. This scene doesn't have to exactly focus on that. So it's mixing somewhere. DC Heroes, you can do sort of half story, where it's not always about action and spotlight, and then half action. Remember, it's not always about action either, right? It's not always about action. So but it's making sure everyone in the scene is still feeling useful. That's the main thing. So you never want to have it where it's like investigation. Batman's looking around, Superman's like, okay, Dan, you're able to stick up my ass and do nothing. So even the super guy has nothing to, you don't want to do that either. So it's like when you're doing a story, and that's when just Superman and Batman can walk up to the same person. Oh yeah, ask questions. And maybe Batman knows a few more things, has some more investigating skill type things, but they're both together. There's not a separate spotlight on the scene. Do you get what I'm saying? They're both interacting with NPCs, people, shit like that. So at that point, you're okay, and Batman could play off a bit of what he's doing. Just saying, right? You could even split it up too. Sometimes it's Superman's over here, Batman's over here, and then you bring them together at one point. So spotlighting is a little bit of time. That's splitting the game up, but you got to get a game master who could just handle that, time it right, not make it boring. And Batman's in his thing, like very separate, maybe in different places. But then, say Batman gets captured trying to find the guy. Superman comes in and breaks through the wall, saves Batman. Again, you're bringing them back together. So you're still spotlighting Batman getting caught. Even Superman can be taken down with kryptonite, right? So it's not every scene is that, but it is, boom. Cyberpunk can just be a little bit more unique. It's easier to understand how to spotlight DC heroes. It can be a little challenging of trying to how do I make sure the challenges in a lot of scenes will get that guy's role to, like, he has to react with his abilities and role, but so does he, and so does the other character. And you got to get all three sort of challenge in one gimmick. Or at least it's challenge up front, the next scene is challenge to the next guy, and you're consistently hitting all three. But either way, it's a constant making them play to their role. Where in Traveler, if you go back to that, old school, Traveler is more like, well, you have a role, you have some conveniences, the scene might not be set up for you, but what can you bring to it? Pressures are meant to keep that game going, not you as a game master doing the extension mental work of trying to make sure every scene is made to challenge, where Cyberpunk just has that overwhelming work on the game master. Not to understand rules. Rules are easy. It's kaboom. And anybody who says, I get Cyberpunk wrong, I'd be just like, well, no, I didn't, but you must suck at the game if you think I'm getting it wrong. Like, you must suck at it. It's your issue. That means you have failed at Cyberpunk, and you were okay with it, and people stayed quiet, because that happens a lot of times. The criticisms, complaints. You get a lot of players that will just keep coming back when they're semi-unhappy, but semi-okay. Or you're not exactly challenging, but you get a pass. Your players are letting you run it sort of like Traveler, so you get a pass. But if I looked at you, I would consider that bad game master. So I'd be like, I'm not getting it wrong. You're sucking. Again, when I talked about Cyberpunk, I had an experienced Cyberpunk game master in here and another guy who had some game mastering experience. So two of them and myself. And it was a great stream. Everyone's happy. Somebody telling me I got that wrong. No, dude, if you think I got it wrong with my explanation, it probably means you're getting it wrong. It means your players let you off the hook, or you were a player and you let your game master off the hook, or you didn't even realize what your game master was supposed to be doing. So since you didn't realize what your game master was supposed to be doing, but you had fun maybe, you played it a bit like Traveler, but you're okay with it, right? That's fine, but that's not right. That's not Cyberpunk. That's not the intention of the designer. What I'm talking about is doing it right. So you might have sat through a Cyberpunk game you thought was okay because it was ran more like Traveler, and the guy wasn't always doing all these things. But the guy is supposed to be doing all these things. So, sorry, dude. You just played it wrong. Or if you were the one doing it, you ran it wrong. It's not me getting it wrong. It's you. And then you're judging the accurate thing I'm telling you as wrong. If somebody tells me I'm wrong on DC Heroes, right away it tells me either they fucked it and they accepted the fuckery and didn't get it right. That's just a fact, right? That's what they're getting. Or they're fucking lying to me. They're just making it up that I'm wrong. Like, oh, you say I'm wrong? Prove it. Prove it. You're going to tell me how you ran it wrong? Is that going to be the explanation? Well, I ran it this way. It was fine. Well, that's running it wrong. That's not the intention of the designer or the game. So, sorry, dude. I'm telling you how it's actually supposed to be, and I did it. Why would I run Cyberpunk and DC Heroes? Because I love Traveler. And when I run into things that were pressure things similar to Traveler, I love running them. I love jumping into Cyberpunk. I love jumping into DC Heroes. I jump into all kinds of, I know so many games are silly. So very confident in what I'm telling you. And again, it's a hearing. I think it was like more than one guy said I was wrong. I had probably haters, to be honest. But I'm like, I have a very experienced game master in the Cyberpunk, like in chat that night on purpose. I told Philo what I was doing. I'm glad he showed up because I knew he had experience with it. And he's also an experienced role master guy. I mean, that's fucking hard enough to begin with, right? To get right. But a lot of guys get these games carelessly bad. I just think if you don't know something is bad, you might be watching and thinking it's okay. Or you played in it and you thought it was okay. I've seen guys run Rollmaster where it's not really good. The players aren't really good. It's not what Rollmaster could be. Ask them, oh, yeah, it was great. Well, fine. If you enjoyed it, fine. But if you think that's the intention of the game or the game designer, you're fucking wrong. And these games are more closer to run raw. So D&D is old school. D&D is freedom. Some of these games like Cyberpunk is rules is written mostly. Now, DC Heroes does break through that because it wants fast gameplay. It actually weirdly says ignore rules as written. The game has to rule to the game master. Ignore rules as written if it's just faster. So could I throw it at this thing? If you feel like they can, but you want to check out the measurements, you're doing it wrong. You slow the game down to check out measurements, you're doing it wrong. If you really feel like that guy could hit, you just go, yeah, you can hit, roll the dice. Okay. You do it that quick, and if later on it says, no, it was like he was a little off, give a fuck. You did not break the rules. The game is telling you to do that. So that in a way is breaking from the engine is still rules as written with DC Heroes. Either you know or you don't know. Telling me I'm wrong about Cyberpunk when I got it 100% right. And every experienced Cyberpunk guy I know loves that fucking stream that watch it afterwards. Especially an experienced game master. And some fucking idiot out there telling me I got it wrong. No, it's clear. You got it wrong or you're making shit up. So either you suck and you guys were all okay with sucking, and that's all. And I've seen a lot of people run Cyberpunk and play Cyberpunk. It's like, that's not Cyberpunk. That's not Cyberpunk at all. So, sorry, dude. See, here's a real experienced game master telling you how Cyberpunk really goes. And if it doesn't line up with you, it means you're in the wrong. I'm just teaching you. Right? Jesus Christ. Like, I don't fucking know these things. I know these things. I ran these games shitloads of times. Shitloads. And I got them right. That's a big difference between me and the guy saying I got it wrong. If you say I got it wrong, it's just you're admitting to me. You're either full of shit, right? You don't know the game that well, or you played it or ran it wrong. That's on you. That's on you. Don't bring your shit to me. You got it wrong. You're okay. Don't bring your shit to me. No, conventional players would, but I don't think they would if the game master gets it right. Because that's the thing. You're not meant to try to get it right. If the game master is running the scenes right, it should just force you into playing the punk most of the time. Now, where they get it wrong is sometimes with their options to play the style and stuff like that, you might get players not doing that. But that still comes down to a conversation that the game master can have with players. Hey, let's have a pause. Let's go over this stuff, guys. Do you understand that if you get in these spots, if you're going to take risks, do it style, do the punk stuff, play to it, and I'll put you in situations where it's meant to push you to it or put you in situations where you can do it. Right? A lot of people will play it wrong, and that's fine. They don't do the style. They don't do all the punk stuff. But here's what happens with Cyberpunk. A lot of guys let bad gameplay and bad game mastering slide. Or they don't even know. They don't even understand they're not doing it right. And look, do it any way you want. You misunderstand me. I'm just saying, If you're going to say I'm doing it wrong, no, I'm not. I'm telling you what the designer intended, and I myself did it right. Right? Because shit, I've been game mastering forever. It's bullshit. People know this by the way I talk. That's it. You hear the wisdom because I know it. That's all. God damn it. And I know these games because they're built off of Traveler, which is one of my favorite games. So, and I ran that immensely amount of times. And these games have the pressure, the mindset of Traveler. That's what you're looking at. But DC Heroes, even though it has a Traveler approach, has a storytelling approach, unlike Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk has what you call, they want you to experience the world. Be the punk, experience the thing as it is. That's why you do those things. So it's about experiencing a setting, having an experience. Where DC Heroes, the difference between that and Travelers, DC Heroes is trying to tell a story. It's still emergent story from play with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is meant to experience the world. Traveler is more basic than these two things. It's like taking Traveler and advancing. Traveler was a really interesting system. That's why it had so much influence on the hobby. And the pressure thing, outside of plots, using that to build your plot without needing to build the plot beforehand, the pressure thing is genius. That's why I brought that to sandbox gameplay with my second edition game. All right, I used to do the plots, go to the pressure. Oh shit, I can do these, and plots just come to my mind. It's just easy to build off the pressure. Start because it's all pressure, and then you go bigger picture. You start extending. You go connect to this guy, connect to this, connect to this. But the pressure is important for sandbox. That's what I realized from Traveler. You get these DMs with sandbox games. Oh, my players aren't doing much. Well, my players know this. If you don't do much, a stick is coming up your ass. So sit around too long, pressure is on its way, baby. But it is true as long as the game master is getting it right. And then it's the clear conversation from game master to player, not player needing to learn everything in detail. It's really on the game master to have knowledge. You got to talk to the players and make them understand what they should be like. The game wants you to do this, so your style means this. You got to play punk, and the game is made to let you play punk. It's just you got to understand if you use this, you're playing to the punk thing. If you do it this way, you're playing to the punk thing. And these tools in your character are all for getting you into the punk thing. So you help direct them, and then you create scenes and scenarios and situations where, okay, they understand the basics. Now they're in a situation where it's obviously we apply it. We go. We're challenged. Yes. It's a teamwork thing, unlike Traveler. Traveler is more like run it where in a weird way, because the designer of Cyberpunk wants the situation, and he does not depend on the players. He depends on the game master working. It's almost like the game master is partly playing your characters in this weird way. He's teaming with you and playing your character right. It's a team sport. So it's good communication up front from the game master about your tools to understand that leads to punk play so you can have the experience. And then he needs to, on top of the clear communication, be setting you up in the scenes where all this stuff is to challenge your roles, who you are, and give you certain scenarios where you can play punk, right? And if all that goes well together, fine. But Cyberpunk is so hard to get right. Most people get it wrong, but it doesn't blow the game up. So you can play it like Traveler a bit. And most people just let themselves off. Like they'll walk away going, yeah, we did really good. Now me, I would be fine. If you're happy and you're all happy, I'd be fine. But if you ask me my personal opinion, especially my nerd side, I'd be like, yeah, you had a great time. It's fine. But you did it wrong. So don't tell me that's right. Don't fucking mistake and come over and tell me bad gameplay is right. You can tell me you had fun with it, but don't dare tell me you did it right. And then when I explain how to do it right, you tell me doing it right is wrong. It just means you're fucking stupid and you don't know Cyberpunk. Not much of an OG, eh? I'm the OG. Because I know how to do it right. That's the difference. So certain people out there I know said I did that wrong. fuck off. You don't know cyberpunk if you say I represented cyberpunk as wrong. Oh, you get it wrong. No, I fucking didn't, you fucking douchebag. Sorry, I just had to get that into my system. There, I'm not gonna say names. Just pissy because I did a great stream on that. It's like, dude, if you're a cyberpunk guy, instead of saying I did it wrong, why aren't you just happy with the stream, even if you don't like me? You should be like, man, he respected cyberpunk and got it right. God damn fucking rights I did. I love the game. I'm not here to spit on what cyberpunk is. I'm here to represent it. We'll say old gangster GM. We'll put it that way and leave it at that. Some old OG. Won't say names, but we're saying I get it wrong. Younger people, it means old gangster. It's like old gangster. Oh, gee, he's the old gangster. You get it? Then you're the OG of the thing. I know. You're Norway. That's all right. That's a Western thing. Some people out there will get it. The person I'm fucking talking to will understand that who I'm responding. They'll understand I'm talking to them. They'll understand directly because it's one of the guys who said, I hope the connection's fine, but it's one of the guys who said I got it wrong. It's like, no, dude, if you say I got it wrong, that means you were playing it or running it wrong. And you just didn't know it. And I taught you the real thing. Because I did the real thing. Jesus Christ. If you really play and run these games correctly, you would never say these streams are wrong. I'm not bullshitting when I talk about the games I run and getting it right. So it's like, I'm not getting it right. It's fact-based for a reason. I call these fact-based streams. If you say I got fact-based wrong, it just means you don't have proper experience with the game. And yes, you can play Cyberpunk a bit like Traveler and just not get it right, but still have, I guess, a good experience, but you got it wrong. Rapper Ice-T, OG. There you go. Craig knows it. It was originally used by rapper Ice-T, old gangster, OG. And he is an OG, as they would say, right? God damn. Next, I'm going to hear, you got DC Heroes wrong. Oh, fuck off. That means you haven't fucking ran it right or played it right. Kiss my ass. That's all you're admitting to me. Because I did these things. So if you want to confess to me that you just didn't do it or didn't do it right, go ahead. Say I'm wrong. Jeez. I'm not going to bother talking about shit I didn't do. It's a waste of my time. That's why I can read the parts out, the text I wrote down, and then I can stop and I give you thoughts around all this stuff. The reason I can go to the freehand explanation, all I'm doing is writing the facts down so I don't miss them because I know my fellow nerds are watching. And I know how picky my fellow nerds are. And if I go up the top of my head, I'm going to forget details and not tell you everything. So the bullet point, the way I put it together, so I can help remember. And it helps me put a little extra detail in there to make it sound more flavor, get the right things down. And then I can speak around the parts I'm talking about because I actually did the thing. But it's just to appease my fellow nerds, especially like I said to Max, I hope he gets a chance to check out Earth Dawn because I'm going to cover the facts. I've done Earth Dawn, so I know Earth Dawn. So I'm going to cover the facts, right? And if at any point Max were to come out and say, you got it wrong, I'd be like, no, dude, you got it wrong, so let's talk about it. I guarantee I got it right. 1,000,000% got it right. Right? So if anybody tells me I got it wrong, nope, we're going to have that talk. I got it right. So if you didn't do what I did, oopsie, you fucked up somewhere, I can explain it to you. But I know Max won't do it. I'm joking. Max is cool. He'll get it. I want him to watch it because he'll appreciate it. Anybody who's just genuinely honest, I know Max is, I just want to impress him. It's like Bloodworth with AD&D 1E. He's a AD&D 1E guy. I'm doing facts. So I'm a second edition guy. I did my AD&D 1E stream. He praises it, listens to the entire thing, start to finish, tells me, agrees with me on everything I said, start to finish. Nothing in it was disagreed with. And I'm not even an AD&D 1E guy, but I ran it, and I played it, and I did it right. And I understand these things. So I can, boom. Same thing with OD&D and Basic. I did the stream on that. No Basic guy, no Beckme guy is coming around going, you got it wrong. No, because I ran Beckme and played Beckme. I won't get it wrong. Original Jesus fuck. I could sleep and get that right. Sorry, guys. I mean, that everyone knows that. So I get these things right. They're called fact-based for a reason. It's not bullshit. I get pissed off. I just want to put that out there. It's not drama. This is me just defending the work I'm doing because I know I'm doing good work. And you might not like the stream. I don't care what other white noise you give me about what you don't like about how I do these streams. My people do. Even the guys just watching and not chatting, they'll at least get something out of this. Guaranteed. So they're safe. Anyone who wants to now understands DC Heroes and Cyberpunk, I eased up on explaining, trying to make the game mastering seem less intimidating. It's still more intimidating with Cyberpunk, right? To get it right. To get it right. Right? That's it. And we got like 5 more minutes here I'm trying to kill. Just to get an even 2 hours out of this. And I don't think, I mean, I hear you guys talk, but I don't think you have really any questions because I think like you both are happy with the coverage. You understand what I said. You understand the thing. Like Blackwood said, he gets it. He's just, it's not his cup of tea. Craig probably gets it exactly what I'm saying. Actually, he has some deeper understanding of I could tell right away. I'm saying stuff and I'm saying this is real DC. And he's like, he doesn't need to know the game. He's like, he just hears it and goes, I don't need to understand the game, but you're explaining right. That connects. Oh, yeah. And the OSR revival. And that's what I want people, when they talk about revival, I guess what they mean when the revival part is taking the original games and replaying them, getting them back out there actively in the hobby. And so what I'm doing is pro OSR. It's not Renaissance as far as I'm promoting clones, but I am promoting old gaming to get people hyped to game with them again. Like certain person out there that complained about my Cyberpunk thing. Well, I'm going to cover Villains and Vigilantes. If you're a fan of that, geez, I'm going to love the game. I'm going to respect it. You shouldn't try to tear me down, especially if I put out a good, accurate thing on it and you like the game. It'd be damaging to a good presentation. Cyberpunk was a good presentation. You insult, you damage the presentation of a good game by saying I'm wrong. And what you're admitting, if you say I did Cyberpunk wrong, is you did it wrong. That means you never played hardcore on this stuff, and that's fine. Unlike DC Heroes, Cyberpunk, you can get away with not doing it right. You can do it more like Traveler, but you're doing it wrong. DC Heroes, you can't really do it wrong in the same way. The game you'll get the complaints. It feels unfair. People do walk away. Or if they don't do that directly, they'll be like, can we play a different game? If you hear that, like from just about any player, can we play a different game? It's in a lot of cases, that just might be, if you haven't played it long. It means, yeah, I'm not liking this and I have one of the complaints, but I don't want to put that out to you. I don't want to say this is shit. Can we play a different game? That's a polite way of pushing back. There. I'll have this, even though it's going to be a couple minutes over 2 hours. Just fucking, man, I'm presenting these games because I love them. It's not an ego boost for me. I'm doing the streams fine. I'm not going to worry about that shit. Sorry if you want to make white noise and try to tear me down. All you're doing is tearing the game down. If I do a great presentation and you say it's wrong, you're fucking taking a shot at the game. Listen, my people are fine with me. What, are you going to say something to a fucking community of people I'm not trying to attract to my channel? Oh, guess what? Condor got it wrong. All these people that don't like me. We're still not watching them, so you didn't have to say anything. And the people that will watch me won't listen to you. So now you're just damaging a correct presentation of a game, trying to bring me down for no good fucking reason. I lose nothing. All you do is damage a good presentation of a game. I would guess, if you're saying I got it wrong, means you played it, like it, whatever the fuck. So why not just listen to me honestly and realize, oh, okay, you don't have to like me, but I'm respecting the game. I'm respecting the game. And I love the game because it's like Traveler. And I'm a huge Traveler guy. I'm a huge everything guy, to be honest. I'm crazy like that. I'm a huge everything guy. I like the Call of Cthulhu. I like the Tomorrow of Earth Dawn, which boom, I'll fucking knock that out of the park. And then we'll knock Ruin Quest out of the park on Tuesday. Just get more experience with these games, guys, so you understand that I'm not wrong instead of taking your limited experience and assuming I'm wrong when you don't know. Like, I know. I have the real experience. So I know. Just because I write something out to appease my fellow nerds so I get it all right doesn't mean I'm making some shit up. Well, and that's exactly it, Craig. It does lean more into what you would say, the tropes. But that's why it's the pressure test of getting the players to play it right with the help of the game master, having good communication about their options, and the game master creating the scenarios that entices players to play to that stuff correctly. No, you're completely right too on the last part. Movies don't match printed versions; they never do. A million fucking percent. If you go play Cyberpunk the video game, I swear one guy said I was wrong based on playing the video game. I was like, dude, fuck off. I'm talking about the tabletop role-playing game. Not the same thing. Definitely going to be differences. Right? It's not always, it's like the movie he's saying there. That's completely true. Probably. I won't lie about playing. I have not played Cyberpunk the video game, but I imagine if you treat it like a movie, there's aspects where you're going, that's not exactly Cyberpunk. The tabletop role-playing game. That's the difference. If you look at the game like sort of a written out thing and then looked at the video game, you're probably going to find things where it's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's Cyberpunk. Jesus Christ. It's annoying. It's annoying to get something done right. The only thing I think I didn't hit the mark on, and I hit it better tonight, was explaining that not every scene has to be exactly that. So you can do a little bit more loose in some scenes. But unlike DC Heroes, where half the scenes can be interaction story without spotlighting, you do got to do more of the proper stuff, right, in Cyberpunk, if you're running it right. Oh, I love the 92 series is the best fucking thing I've ever seen. I got to be honest, the experience watching the cartoon was better than reading the comic. I think a lot of people don't argue with that. Same thing with the X-Men cartoon. I love the comics, but the X-Men cartoon, the old original one, I don't care about the remake. The old original one was beautiful. The voice for Wolverine was so spot on. I was like, yeah. And that version and that voice is so spot on that it influences the character in the X-Men movies. That's how impactful the Wolverine was in the animated series back in the 90s. So impactful that the character in the movie has to have a voice that sort of sounds like him, an attitude more like him. Very similar to the comic book, but the voice and everything it's one of those times where, just like the Batman, where you're like, man, they looked at that out of the comic and got it right. The Batman sounded like you wanted him to sound. He showed up in the darkness the way you wanted him to show up and be dark the way he was. Wolverine, I wouldn't say that with every single X-Men character, but the Wolverine was another character where lifted up from the comic book. Jesus Christ, that's how he's supposed to sound. They got it right. Right? They got it right. That's when you read it, it's one of the few times where you're reading and you go, Wolverine, yeah, he's probably a rough old, and they're explaining he has a rough voice. You go to the cartoon, you're like, geez, these guys are reading our minds. That guy, that voice actor is so dead accurate on the character. So I would imagine you know about that, Craig. If you watch the 92 series, then you probably watch a little bit of the X-Men, and you would appreciate the Wolverine. Almost done this. It's what you call overtime. So if you count the 10 minutes I started beforehand, it will be an even 2 hours or close to 2 hours exactly on the script by the time I'm done here. I hope the people that sat back and relaxed, like Monkey, did enjoy what I put out here. He said he did. I'm glad he did. He was happy with the presentation on the thing. And that's what I'm doing. I'm presenting these games and hyping people up for them. That's the point of these streams, right? And the success of that is what gets me my rewards with this stuff. It's why people are going to sit back and watch. Rem and Stimpy. Oh, Craig. I love you, dude. That's why me and you connect so well. I love Rem and Stimpy. No rush for my part. Sleep is overrated. You're welcome, Monkey. I am glad you enjoyed that, dude. And you don't ever have to speak up. It's a nice little statement you left me earlier, and I really do appreciate you taking the time out before it's all over, after it's done, saying you liked it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know you're a sit-back guy. Some nights you'll have the energy to chat with us on things you know more about. But some of this I expect people don't know much about. So I get there's not much. It's like even Black Rose and Craig had a bit more to say because he knows a bit about the comics, as I can tell. So Craig has some stuff to add there. Black Rose, he said some stuff, but Black Rose will admit probably a little bit better. Most of the time he sat back and listened because he's trying to learn. My streams are not, the casual part is the chat part where we can do a little bit more interaction like this, where you might want to say something. But during the stream, during the fucking presentation, it's sit back and relax mostly. Unless you got something to say, like you can really relate with some of the comic book stuff like Craig can, right? So on like nights when we did Pendragon, I knew right away. Well, now, Warhammer 40K, which I'm covering on the 23rd of April, inspired to do it early for Craig and Black Rose, and I'm glad they connect on that. That's one area where the two of them connect, right? That's great because I know if you guys are active on that night, we'll have a fun night. They'll have a lot. Black Rose will have a lot to say, so will Craig, right? Yeah, and Black Rose got the reminisce of you. This time with a baby and half in hand, right with. I totally understand. You're with the kids. It's you know the deal. I'm here to serve. You sit back and relax, right? Oh, the cover tune at the end of the month. Yeah, close to the end, we will do tune and we'll talk about. I'll purposely remember this now that you mentioned it. I'll even I promise, Craig, I will make note of Ren and Stimpy and talk about the tune that related to the tune game. So glad I found that out about you. And Black Rose likes it. I imagine a lot of people older guys love Ren and Stimpy. Fucking hilarious shit. Hilarious stuff. Stuff you will probably never get away with now. So it's Ren and Stimpy is, I don't think the way they did the cartoon would ever be able to be remade now, given how the world is. Let's be honest. But Ren and Stimpy fucking loved it. But yeah, the tune game will be fun. And so I'll be running. At one point, I'll go over another game, Little Fairs, and all kinds of interesting games that people might not even know existed, right? Yeah. We have great, like, our younger years were better than anything you see today. Like the amount of, look, I grew up a little later than some of the guys, but I'm born 1980, really started getting into cartoons more like 86. But you go from some of the greatest shit, Transformers, Voltron, to Ren Stimpy, X-Men, fucking Batman, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon and movies. Fucking Secret of the Ooze opening, where I love all that shit. And here's another odd one. Remember the kids fighting as ninjas, the three ninjas? Frank Zappa as the Pope. Oh, yeah. I feel bad for fucking young people today. They'll never have what we had. Period. You just can't have what we had. I know what you're talking about there, Craig. Glad we finished off with some fun stuff. When we hit the tune stuff, some of this will be brought up, and we got our 40K thing. The wargaming will probably attract some other people to chat with us. I hope the Warhammer 40K attracts some other wargamer guys to come in and want to talk about this stuff. Kabang! Right? That'll be fun. Be a fun night. Probably a lively chat. I'll have to plan on just understanding. I'm going to have to pause a lot to interact with people, which is fine. I love doing it. But I also, just because I've done so much stage talking to audiences, that's why I tell you guys, I really don't mind doing this live, and I don't worry. Like a lot of other guys depend on the chat. They'll be like, man, the chat kept the stream alive. I'm like, no, I do stage talks with audiences. I can keep it alive if you want to listen, right? Oh yeah, that will be one where you guys will have a lot deeper. It'll be one where you're more confident too, Black Rose, because on this stuff you're learning. But I know it's on nights where I'm going to hit stuff that you fucking know your shit on. Oh yeah, You probably, most likely, you guys might have a bit more experience than me with the war game Warhammer 40K, but I have enough. I have enough to get it right. I have enough to cover the facts and go over it. But it will be like adding, and I'll be adding. Me and Black Rose will be having a private conversation about Warhammer 40K. I got notes down from what Craig told me, and maybe me and Craig can have a few more typed interactions, like through chat or something, just, under one of the videos, maybe a prep video I'll do where it's like, yeah, be ready for Warhammer 40K. We could get into a fucking thread of fucking back and forth with me and Craig, and he can give me some more ideas on what he wants me to say. That's all good. He just doesn't have Discord and all these other things. It's either email. And Craig, if you remember something, because, so you don't forget and you want to get information to me, we now do the email thing. So anytime it's like, hey, dude, I want to tell you this before I forget. The other deal, before you forget, but you want me to cover something for you, email me right away. Here's the thing about the 40K. Here's the thing about the thing, right? So if you think of it on the spot, you got the energy to type it out and say what you want to say, get on, throw it at me in email, and then you don't got to worry about forgetting it. I'll have the note. Well, that's where I'll take care of bringing all the information. I'll bring all the information. So that's it, guys. That's over exactly 2 hours because I start my 10-hour or 10-minute early thing. So we're at 2 hours, 11 minutes, 12 minutes. All right. I love you all. Thank you, Craig and Black Rose. And thank you for being around. Anybody else like